See, up until that point, one of my main strategies for surviving life had been being liked. I was teased a lot as a kid, so being liked became survival. Those skills were getting in my way because coaching involves hard conversations. Coaching involves holding people accountable. Coaching involves holding somebody's hand in the fire and pushing them beyond their limits. And up until that point, I wasn't willing to risk them not liking me. When I first started coaching, for that program that I told you about, when I completed that program, one of the options you have is to go back and mentor the next class. And so a lot of the coaches in the space are just graduates who are mentoring. And so I was so moved by somebody taking 3 months out of their life to mentor me in this way, and just because they cared, that I was like, oh, I'm doing this just to pay it forward. And, through this program, I had my little group. I had like 5 people that I was like in charge of. And they all start the program by writing these letters of goals, these big, huge goals that they're up to. And about 2 months in, we still got a month left, we do this exercise where we check in. They're checking in with their results and their progress, but the coaches are sitting there checking the results of their people as well. Like, you're measuring your success based on how your team is doing. And my team was failing so miserably. They were just, it was awful. But they love me. They love me. I was their cheerleader. I was their rah-rah guy. They love me. They would and what I realized after doing that exercise was I was more committed to them liking me than to them winning. See, up until that point, one of my main strategies for surviving life had been being liked. I was teased a lot as a kid, so being liked became survival. When I got to college, I wasn't the smartest, I wasn't the most successful. I worked the hardest, but I also was very likable. Teachers took an interest in me, and they contributed to me, and I leaned into that, right? So there was a way that being liked became like a tool of for my success, and a tool and it wasn't manipulative. I wasn't being fake, but it was, I became charming, right? I became charming. I became funny, I literally remember the day that I decided to be funny. I was in junior high school and somebody made fun of me, and for some reason I came back with a joke that was funnier than his joke, and everybody around me started cracking up, and I literally said, oh, if I can make the bigger joke, then I control the narrative, I control the situation. Okay. And in that moment, I became a smartass because it got me something. Now that I'm coaching, those skills were getting in my way because coaching involves hard conversations. Coaching involves holding people accountable. Coaching involves holding somebody's hand in the fire and pushing them beyond their limits. And up until that point, I wasn't willing to risk them not liking me. So then I had to start doing the work of dismantling all those defense mechanisms. I had to do the work of dismantling and training myself to be able to say the uncomfortable things. Because I declared that day that I was no longer going to be the reason why somebody else didn't win. I was no longer going to be the thing that stood in somebody's way. I had to look and go, okay, what? I was the only common denominator between the team. 5 people, different lives, different. I was the one thing linking them all together. So you have to have something that you care about deeply enough to make you go into the shadow parts, to make you go into the dark parts. And for me, that's people. For me, that has always been people. There are times when you'll see it, especially in the tech world, you'll see that there's an innovative idea. Steve Jobs, comes to mind. Elon Musk. These are people that are hyper passionate about putting forward some idea, and as a result, they push to the limits. They may not have always been the greatest leaders, and this is where like you and I come in to help them with those moments, because when you make the mission more important than the people and taking care of the people, well, that brings a whole other set of problems that we haven't gotten into yet. But what drives you, what has you do that deep work, is you have to have something that calls you forward and lights you up, and you get to decide what that is. It could be just your family. Some people are just like really driven by creating, opportunities for their family and their kids. But you have to know what that is. And in my experience, the leader in me will invite you to have it be something that is to understand how that vision, your part, fits into the bigger picture. Even if it's like, oh, I just want the world to be better for my kids. Okay, well, how does that ripple? Who do your kids get to become in the world? What's the impact that your kids get to have in the world now? What kind of leaders do they go off and be because of the work that you're doing with them now? Like, you have to understand how it fits into the bigger picture, because then you can really understand the ripple effect and understand the opportunities that are really available in that moment. Right?
How do you, Gary, create the space where your clients can feel safe and empowered to truly understand what that is for themselves, and then to turn around and help them do that for their employees and the people that they care about?